Hello and welcome. This is the Journey program by one Achieng Mwangi. And in Africa, we say there is no a Baba that babas himself. So the host cannot host themselves. And I'm honored to be the host of one Achieng Mwangi. And before we even introduce what the journey is all about, remember to subscribe to this channel. Remember to share. Remember to like. Remember to click on the bell down there so that every time a new video is uploaded, you get a pop-up. And make sure you tell a friend about it. We want your support in this. This is the journey. So,
you're watching The Journey Show with Achieng Mwangi.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
How does it feel to be hosted on your show?
Feels pretty awkward. It's really awkward.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can first tell us what the Journey program or show is all about.
Well, this show is all about life in general, the process of health, finances, parenting, marriage, everything. It's a cocktail of life generally.
All right.
Yes.
What pushed you to begin it?
Well, the whole idea of having this program, what gave birth to it is the struggle I've had when it comes to matters healthcare, and realizing the fact that there are many people out there who are just like me going through the same process, and they've never probably had a chance to share or missing out on getting to learn from other people. You know, when you share experiences, you get to realize you're not alone, for starters. Second thing, you can learn a thing or two how to manage whichever situation you're in. And then it gives you that positivity to know that, oh, there's somebody out there who understands exactly what you're going through. And it becomes much easier. So I'm creating this platform to share what other people are going through, what I have been going through, especially in matters healthcare, the journey of surgery, recovering, and the healing process, the aftermath, all that. Because I know that there are other people out there who probably have gone through the same thing I've been going through. And when we come together and share that, it becomes much easier and it encourages someone else.
All right.
Yes.
Now, you know, you're talking about surgery, you know, somebody's wondering what kind of a surgery and what have you experienced?
Well, I've had craniotomy. That is the surgery of, you know.
That's huge. All right, calm down and just explain to us.
I'm not a medic per se, but I love medical stuff.
All right.
But I'm not a medic. So I'll just, in layman's language, I've had a brain surgery.
Okay.
And it was a type of a cyst.
All right.
That to date, the doctors weren't so sure how it came about. But yeah, I had that surgery, and the recovering process and the healing process has been really brutal.
All right. I know, I'm sure we'll be talking about much about that.
Yes.
So let's then go back to the beginning. How
Yes.
did it just start, and okay, what happened?
Well, the whole thing started way back in 2016, if I can remember clearly. That is after I had gotten married.
Oh
yeah.
All right.
And you know, once you put it down, you're married and you have all these symptoms. The symptoms I had were actually close to like a pregnancy, you know,
really?
morning headaches, and you know, it felt like morning sickness.
Okay.
I would wake up feeling dizzy, then vomit, lack of energy. And most of the time, I think the first time it happened, we went to hospital and they were like, you know, we need to test you for pregnancy. And I was so sure I wasn't pregnant at that time.
All right.
But they still insisted, you know, if you're not a doctor, then you just follow what the doctor says, yeah?
Sure.
So they did those tests, and there's some other doctors who will suggest, you know, probably you should reduce your weight. That hurt.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so after that, I had the first episode I had was that in 2016.
Okay.
And then after a while, it came back.
All right.
Same symptoms. feeling nauseated, especially in the morning.
Okay.
Feeling nauseated and vomiting
Mm-hmm.
and having headaches, feeling a little bit disoriented.
All right.
But then it will come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing will still reoccur, and the
Okay.
doctors will still suggest do a pregnancy test,
Okay.
cut down on your weight.
Okay.
So I tried all these things, but then after a while, the symptoms will still come back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this happened up until 2019,
Mm-hmm.
where now I started having headaches. It wouldn't really go away, they will be on and off. And at some point, I thought, well, let me go get checked.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure, I knew they'll still tell me, do a
Okay.
pregnancy test,
All right.
of which they did and all that. And some doctor told me, I think you're just depressed or something.
Mm-hmm.
She prescribed, not
Mm-hmm.
described. Oh my,
Mm-hmm.
I told you I'm not a medic. So
Yeah, we forgive you. Mm-hmm.
she prescribed antidepressants,
Okay.
of which I took for some time,
Mm-hmm.
but then it will not go away.
Yeah.
And it came to a point whereby when I would walk out and the sun at times it would be so hot,
Mm-hmm.
I would feel like a sponge is being squeezed in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point I would feel like I'm not seeing clearly the blurry vision.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point I went back to hospital
Okay.
because it was now intense. I couldn't even walk out
All
when
right.
the sun is hot.
Mm-hmm.
And at times going to the washroom, that was a struggle as well.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the washroom, I won't really describe what
Mm-hmm.
that entails, but the pressure it takes, yeah?
Yes.
When you're going to pee or you're
Mm-hmm.
going to do number 2,
Mm-hmm.
it was just too much. I would feel like my brain is being squeezed out.
All right.
So going to this hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I met a lady doctor, and she was like, give me a history of your headaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her this
Mm-hmm.
started way back, and every time they keep telling me, test this, test that, test this.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing to show for it. So she told me, okay, fine. Why don't we test your blood one more time?
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, I'll know what to follow up with.
Okay.
So, well, I went ahead and did they call it the full...
High hemoglobin or
Yes, something. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that test.
Doctors knows it.
That test. They did it and it came back, everything was normal.
Mm.
And then she was like, we have to check your head because if you keep on insisting you have headaches
Mm-hmm.
and you've tried all these medications, I've tested you,
Yes.
the blood work is okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I would recommend, why don't you get a CT?
Mm.
Let's just check your head and see.
All right.
And for a minute I thought, no, how?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On the same day actually,
Yeah.
we went for the CT.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for the CT scan.
Yes.
And I can remember the experience of CT. They first do the scan without, I don't know what they inject on you. Apparently it's the kind of a liquid that makes it all clear.
Yes.
They first do one without it, then the next one with that injection.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one they did, this guy comes out and says, I see something, but I'm not so sure what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he went ahead and injected me with that, whatever it was, and they did another one.
Yeah.
So after that, was waiting for the results. But the fact that he said, there's something I'm seeing that is not really clear. Oh my goodness,
what was going through your mind?
Oh, I panicked.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, is it a tumor? Because I've never heard of cyst or anything. So I thought, could it be a tumor? Could it be, I don't know. Is it cancerous? Am I dying tomorrow? So after he gave us the results, it's one of those centers where they don't really explain the results to you. They send you back to the doctor who referred you for the CT. But honestly, you can read through what is written on that report.
Yes.
So I remember taking a look at that paper, and the first thing I saw, it was like an arachnoid cyst or something, and how big it was. 9 by 5 centimeters. That's big.
In your brain.
Yes, it's huge.
It's huge.
So now, when I saw that, I panicked. Oh, I panicked. I don't know I felt like this is it. You know those moments when you feel like now this is the way you end, this is how you die.
You start seeing your own body.
Oh my god!
Who came for the burial and
Oh
who didn't?
Lord, that was such a hard time. It was so hard to process it. So we went back to the same doctor, and she was like, "Yeah, from the look of things, yes, this is the cause as to why you've been having the headaches and everything. But it's now beyond my control. The only
right.
person who can handle it is a neurosurgeon.
All right.
You know." So now the process of trying to find a neurosurgeon in Kenya,
Yes.
it felt like the end. It felt like this is it. And the worst mistake I did on that day was to go and Google what kind of assist this is. Oh, Google can kill you so fast. The first thing I read about this particular cyst was somebody died in their sleep because of the cyst they didn't even know they had. And I thought, all this time I've been, living, not knowing, I will just die in my sleep. Oh my goodness, that was tormenting. It was tormenting.
Yeah.
And now the journey of finding a neurosurgeon and explaining what the actual problem was also not easy.
All right.
Because I remember the first doctor we visited. Well, he was good.
Yeah.
I don't disregard him. But I think he wasn't so certain about that particular cyst or what it was. For him, it was for the idea of, cut it out, chop the whole thing off.
All right.
And, heal after some time.
Okay.
Or alternatively, get a shunt.
All right.
But him, the idea of a shunt was to have an external shunt, which will drain, but it will be, externally injured. Yeah. And I really didn't like that. I don't want to walk around with something external on my head. No. Okay. Well, that was my thinking then.
Yeah.
I didn't like the idea of an external shunt. So now, my one and only would think of the whole situation and went behind my back to seek another opinion from another neurosurgeon.
My bad, that's me.
Yeah, you were behind my back.
I know.
So all this time I was in darkness. I didn't know. Personally, I thought we were sticking with the first neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
And then now when you came back and said we found somebody else who has looked at the report and says, it's not as huge as I was thinking it was. And the way you kept explaining to me, it's weird. I never spoke to this surgeon even before the surgery.
Yeah.
You are the one who did. And I think you really downsized the whole thing. And you're telling me, this one is not even an issue. You'll just have like a few minutes, they pop it out. Only somebody they pop it out like a dundo. If you don't know what a dundo is, that's like
That's what husbands do. Don't you agree?
It's like a cool word for a pimple. And they'll pop that cyst out like a pimple. And within no time, they'll put a tube in that will drain the excess, whatever. And the only thing that I think made a difference with the first neuro was this particular one said, that is not like the kind of cyst you pop out.
Yeah.
That is part of the brain that was just swollen because, the way there's that fluid that flows on the spine all the way to the brain and all that.
Yes.
It has been leaking in that part of the brain. So it kept on swelling and swelling. And since it was now pushing onto the surgery was on the right side.
Yeah.
So it was pushing on my left. Is it the hemisphere? Exactly.
Yes.
We need a degree.
Oh, yes.
It was pushing to the left hemisphere, which was now bringing in the symptoms. And he was if it wasn't creating any of these symptoms and it was, just there doing nothing, they will have opted not to operate on it.
Yes.
But because now the symptoms are coming, meaning it's pushing the other part of the brain, they had to drain it. So the whole idea of a tube in and all that,
So let me take you back. How did they react in terms of how big the cyst was and what was expected, from your body in terms of how your body ought to have responded to the amount of pressure that this cyst was, putting on your brain?
Well, it was big. It was big. And they were like, all this time, you never felt anything apart from those symptoms. Anybody with that kind of a large cyst, by now, they should just be dropping down somewhere and, you're completely out. But because at times, I know that I hate on the Kenyan system.
Yes.
This way that we've been brought up, when the doctor says, this is A, you don't even question. That is the way it is. So I went ahead and did a little bit of research, which may not entirely be medical, but I came to realize left-handed.
Yes.
Yes. If you're left-handed, you use the right hemisphere.
Yes.
If you're right-handed, you use the left hemisphere of your brain.
Yes.
So since I'm left-handed, this thing is on the right hemisphere of the brain.
Yeah, which ought to be active.
Yes, that's my everything, So even with the slightest, symptom or anything, I could feel it.
Yes.
And that is why I was telling you about the dots, joining dots here and there. I remember way back, even when growing up, there are those instances I would feel a little bit dizzy, a little bit off. And my mom will think, you're just hungry.
Yeah.
Or maybe test the sugar levels or anything. But now joining the dots.
Yes.
Because also, again, the explanation of what this kind of a cyst is, when you do research on it, they say it's probably you banged your head so hard that it caused that damage, of which I don't remember I have.
All right.
Or probably you were bitten by a dog or something. I have never been bitten by a dog.
Okay.
So this particular neurosurgeon said it could have been there since birth.
Okay.
But it was just filling in slowly.
All right.
So now, having done that bit of research, I realized, actually, it's just a blessing.
Yes.
Because I don't know how I've been able to go through life knowing that it's in the right hemisphere and I'm left-handed.
Yes.
That's my not dominant.
Most active
yes,
part of your brain.
Exactly. So, is that dominant?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is the dominant. Way to go. My English is still
She's
intact.
an English girl, so I'm trying to cope up,
So now, what they could not understand is how that happened. It has taken this long for this thing to show.
Okay.
And then also now the draining bit, because they weren't sure if it has been there since birth. These are many years.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that I'm that old, but it's quite many years.
Yeah, over 25 plus.
Yes, exactly. I like that, 25 plus. Leave it at the plus, don't add.
Of course, you need to know how to handle these doubts. Otherwise.
So, yeah, I think it is a blessing, because even them, they couldn't understand how was it that big.
Yes.
And for you to keep pushing yourself that you've not even collapsed. And one of the things they did before even the surgery, I was put on steroids. Yes. You remember steroids? Yeah. And it was so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just fast stop at that.
Right.
Take a short break.
Okay.
When we come back, we talk about the process of surgery.
Exactly.
Just slightly before the surgery and the process of surgery. Don't go away.
You're watching The Journey Show with Achieng Mwangi.
So welcome back. Well, we stopped at when now surgery was inevitable and, you had to go through the process. But I would want us to know what was going through your mind. You've been put on steroids and, surgery is coming definitely. What went through your mind?
I got scared because the first neurosurgeon we met, I at least with him, I was able to ask questions. The second one, you denied me asking questions because of the fear I had, of course. I was asking now, when going through, brain surgery. What are the pros and the cons of it? And it was like, doctors, very funny people, intelligent, but the way they put out stuff, it's, so he was telling me, well, any surgery, there's death in it. Any surgery, things happen. And besides that, he was telling me you could wake up with part of your memory gone, or you've forgotten about stuff. And remember, this is the right hemisphere. This is where my everything is, So if it's tampered with, then I just wake up like a newborn baby and I forget everything. That was a little bit scary. And the fact that I was thinking, I'm still young. I have a whole lot to live for. And I have this baby girl, I don't want to miss out on her life and, marriage and everything. I got scared. Most of those days I would sleep and my thoughts will just rush. What if this is the day I shut down? Because you remember when I went to Google about this particular somebody died in this.
Lots of information on
Google.
Yeah.
There's so much on Google that some of it are true, but some are misleading.
And at times also, in as much as it's true, it's the wrong audience. Because here you are and you're going through that process. So you are the wrong audience for that stuff.
Exactly. So now, and also you realize some of those things that you read, probably they're for particular somebody else, but the experience is different.
True.
So it's not necessarily that you'll go through the same.
True.
So most times I would wake up and feel I'm living on like the last days. Which was quite scary. It was quite scary. And also counting days now to surgery. And, just praying and trusting God. I hope I come out of this. I hope I make it through it.
All right. So talk to us now about the D-Day. Here you are now, the guy who does, make you sleep. Is it an anesthetician?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever it is. And here they are now, definitely today is the day. And also remembering, by the way, it was during a pandemic. Corona had hit Kenya. And everybody was panicking, the hospitals, everyone.
Yes.
So how was it?
Well, when we went to the hospital that day, the preparation and all. And first of all, let me say the hospital process, it felt like, I don't like hospitals, which I'll talk about it later. You know my history with us. I don't like hospitals. So during admission, I was taken to this room, the way you share rooms. And the nurse was admitting me then. I think, God bless her. I think she just read through my emotions. The first room I was taken into, there was this old lady who was breathing so heavily. And it felt like, oh my God. I just froze and I was hesitant to walk in. And this nurse, when she looked at me, she realized I'm scared. And she was like, you know what? I think there's another room. So the room I went into, I met this lady who had a craniotomy as well. But for her, she had tumor. And that was the second time she was going through surgery. So now when I was admitted, at least we're seeing this lady actually who had gone through a craniotomy. And she was there doing her makeup and she was looking like, full of life. It kind of gave me hope. After speaking to her, she told me she'd just come out, and all that. And I felt, this at least, there's life in here.
There's somebody you can talk to and, she's doing well.
Yeah, she's doing well.
Here you are. Of course, you are quite sure, not 100%, but you are sure it was not a tumor. What they call malignant. And here you get somebody who already actually is going through, the process of the tumor itself. And they are kicking,
She was doing well.
Makeup.
Oh, she was full of life. She gave me hope, by the way. So now After the admission and everything, that word is hard to say, anesthetist. Good.
Yeah. Dr. Frida, you've done lots of good work.
She came in and she told me, now, I'll be prepping you up the next day, so don't take your meals. I was supposed to have surgery in the morning.
Yes.
But
it changed.
Come morning, there's, the nurses who go doing rounds. One came and told me, no, your surgery is not up until, later on in the evening.
Yeah.
So probably you can have food or something. Oh, well, I went ahead and took breakfast. So the anesthetist came back and was like, who told you to do that? Your surgery was supposed to be today morning.
All right.
So now we have to push it.
Yeah.
And of course, I told you I love medical staff.
Yes.
For, you don't get to eat before surgery.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, the way when you're injected with an anesthesia, your muscles relax and your food, can go into different directions.
All right.
So there's a whole lot that goes in there. So I had to wait. So now when it was time for my surgery, I was told now it's the time. It was around 3:30 that I was wheeled into theater. Apparently there's a whole process.
Yes.
Once you cross that theater door, we thought the surgery will begin then. The neurosurgeon was not even in the area. And it takes a whole lot of preparation. So I was put in the waiting room for almost another 2 hours. Not even 2 hours. From 3:30, I went into surgery around 6.
Yeah.
That was quite some time.
It was.
And I was anxious because they wheel people out of surgery. They put them in that room. And I was there waiting. No one is giving you any information. My phone, I had left my phone with you. So there was no communication. So at around 6 is when now I'm told, we are ready for you. And then I'm wheeled into theater. My heart was pounding and I was scared. And I thought, this is it. This is it. So now, doctors again, this is what they're trained for. And she was so kind. I think she was trying to get my mind out of the whole phobia and everything. So we started having a conversation like, hi, how are you? How are you doing? By the way, yes, do you have a baby, daughter or anything? I was like, yes. By that time, now she explained to me, you just lie down and I'll, put an IV for you and then we'll proceed from there. So, and then she tells me, I've injected you with the anesthesia. You might, feel a little bit drowsy and all that. At this point, we're still chatting. And I'm like, yes, I have a daughter and but then she was 3 years old.
Yeah.
2 years old.
2 years old. Yeah.
So I tell her she's 2 years. By the time I was finishing 2 years old, I was out. And but the whole thing of waking up to have forgotten people, we used to joke about it. If I woke up and found and realized I don't remember you.
You call me Kimani or Tino.
I'll be like, who is this person? I don't know you. Take me back to my place. But so that is also one of the things that was stuck in my mind. And fast forward to the moment when now I woke up after surgery. The first person I saw was you. And the way thoughts rush into your mind, 1,000,001 things you want to say, but then I was still drowsy because of the, anesthesia and all that. So seeing you, I was so excited to see you.
And to recognize me.
Yes! And to realize I haven't forgotten who you are, the way you used to joke about it. So, and then I was in the HDU actually. I didn't go to ICU. I went to the HDU. And, after seeing you, it was just for a short while. I remember you praying. And then after that, I was out again. So when I woke up, and I'm all with all these tubes and, you know, the way the HDU looks like. And I thought it's now morning.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to see you just to counter check and, you know, it's done. The surgery is done.
Yeah.
But my head was sore. It felt painful in my neck all the way. That is when I got to realize, now when I was in HDU, before I was taken back to the ward, that is when I realized the whole process of the shunt and everything, they had to make an incision on my tummy. That you did not tell me.
I didn't.
You didn't.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't want to scare you.
So now, you know, I'm trying to figure out what exactly did they do. So I keep turning and I feel my neck is sore and it feels like it's so stiff. And then I follow this thing that is in my skin all the way. And then I get to my stomach and I realize I have a bandage as well. And I wonder, how? Where did that come from? You know? Oh, well. So later on, the doctor came and he said hi, was like, yeah, it's good to see you. You've woken up. You need to now move around. And he sent another nurse. So I walked around the HDU, just going around, and I had this thing detached outside that was draining the excess fluids. Yeah. And then lunch hour came, there you are. I ate solids. I thought after surgery, people just, you know, it takes a whole process. But there was. I was not even 24 hours after surgery.
Yeah.
I was going around. I was eating solids and all that. Went back to the ward. And sure, to the doctor's ward, the whole process from admission to the time I was to leave hospital was to take 5 days. And yeah. And now when the doctors go around, they do checkups and they ask, how is your bowel movement? How are you feeling? It's weird. They ask if you pass gas. I didn't know that was a whole thing.
Being an African, you know, we don't talk about
Who
those
asks
things.
that?
Yeah.
Only no one asks that. Only doctors. And then when he asked, I was like, what are you asking for? He was trying to ask it in a very nice language. Then the nurse just went out for it. Do you feel like you're passing out gas and you feel bloated or anything? I laughed. And I said, yeah. He just laughed.
That was funny.
Yeah, so you know, because after surgery, when your muscles do relax and now you're back, it feels like having a constipation kind of moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something as well. So now given medication and all that, but I was up and active.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know we may not conclude the whole discussion right now, but as we get to even now the phase 2 of the journey, I would want you to take us maybe through how your faith came in terms of, walking through that journey until the operation.
Well, anybody who is born again, who is a Christian, you have those moments when you feel you're out of touch with God. And there are those days you feel like he's forgotten about you. There are those days you don't even want, you act like you have no idea who God is, you know. It's like just a child throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
But going through that, oh my goodness, if there's a season I really prayed was that one. Oh my goodness. And keeping on reading scriptures and going through them. And, knowing that God responds to his word. You approach God using his word.
Yeah.
So I'll proclaim his word. I refuse to die young. I mean, I have this beautiful family. It's still young. I don't want to miss out on it. I have a whole life to lead. I just could not accept the thought of this is it.
Yeah.
But then there are those moments fear will still creep in and think, what if?
Yeah.
What if? And in the what if moments, I will tell myself, should it happen that way? I don't want to go to hell as well.
Sure.
If it happens that way, at least
Yes.
let me have an entry to going to heaven.
Yeah.
So during that time, it was like praying in two ways.
All right.
When I'll get encouraged, I'll pray, this is not the end. This is not how it ends.
Yeah.
But then when fear would creep in, I'll still tell myself, even if it ends here, then I don't want to
Doubt God.
Yes. And also what really helped is having, a group of friends, the church, family, even strangers who just pray with you through this moment. And I believe even during the surgery process, I believe there were many who are praying, just for it to be successful.
Sure.
And I believe out of that,
Yes.
the results, well, the result is here.
Well.
I'm here.
All right. I know now, after surgery, the journey to recovery is also a big journey.
Yes.
And I know most people who might be going through the same, or they've just been diagnosed with the same challenge, may want to know how it has been. It has been now 3 years down the line. Yeah, 3 years down the line. Of course, I'm sure you really, really want to know what happened, as in how the journey has been. And there, I give you an opportunity to talk to us. First, you have to subscribe to this channel.
Right.
Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Make sure you support this cause, because it's more of, the real experience of life, whereby it's not just a written book, but people who have gone through and experienced the same. So you just need to subscribe, leave a comment. Like if you have a question on the same, because we are not recording that part now. So it means you have an opportunity to ask a question. And when we'll be doing the second part of the journey, you'll have a chance to be answered. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you support this girl. God bless you. So maybe your parting shot.
Well, there's more to come. There's more to unveil. So stick around. Share it with a friend. Subscribe, like. If you have any questions, I'm all open to answer all of them. And of course, as we progress, we'll be seeking also opinion, not really opinion, but getting facts from doctors as well.
Yeah.
Get to understand exactly what was going on. So if you have anything you want to ask, this is the place.
See you in the next video. Bye-bye. Did we say our names? We did.
Yes, you did.
Oh,
no, you did not say your name.
I am Mwangi. That has Achieng. All right. Bye-bye.